First, the majority of people who hold to what has been labeled Calvinism have probably never read a single page of John Calvin's writings. They have read the Bible. It is through reading the words of the Bible, not the words of John Calvin, that they became convinced that God elects his people to salvation, and gives them the grace to believe in the effective sacrifice of his Son. Second, the doctrines are called Calvinism not because the doctrines were invented by him, but because the doctrines came to be debated in a key historical moment, in which his writings played a significant role. John Calvin was far from the first to write about these doctrines. Many in the Western Church had believed some version of the same, or written on some variation of the same, since at least as early as Augustine, more than 1,000 years before Calvin. Of course, those who hold to these doctrines believe they were understood by the apostles and spoken of by Jesus, and that Calvin, Augustine, and others were simply explaining what the Bible already taught. This is normal and good, and is what every one of our pastors does every Sunday. Third, if you reject Calvinism, you likely hold to an opposing view known as Arminianism. Arminians hold to the teachings of Jacobus Arminius, a student of John Calvin's successor. Arminius challenged the common understanding of the Protestants of his time, and proposed an alternate understanding of predestination. Instead of believing that God unconditionally elects some to be his people, and thus grants them power to believe, Arminius proposed that God elects those whom he already knows will choose to respond to his gospel in faith. In other words, Calvin argued that we choose to believe because we are elected by God, and Arminius claimed that we are elected by God because we choose to believe. I only mention this to show that if you do not hold to Calvinism, the overwhelming odds say that you hold to Arminianism. Yet, more likely than not, you have never read or perhaps even heard of Jacobus Arminius. You believe what you believe, because you are a follower of Christ and you are confident this is what he teaches, not because you are a follower of Jacobus Arminius, or even remotely care what he taught. Thus, if you do not believe what you believe because of Jacobus Arminius, you must grant that those who disagree with you do not hold to what they hold because of John Calvin.